And this from Simon on Rachel Reeves. Surely Rachel Reeves isn't making her decisions on her own, is she? Who's advising her? Surely one person isn't making those decisions on her own. Surely her policy choices have been shown to Starmer first. I don't get it. Do you know, Mike? Simon's in Devon. Well, I know somebody that we can ask that question to. Laurie Laird is here, economic commentator, of course. Laurie, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
Is Rachel Reeves making these decisions on her own? I suspect she's not. I mean, she has a team, presumably, behind her. She's got the Treasury to rely upon. She's got the Office for Budget Responsibility to lean on as well. How is she getting it so wrong?
I suspect she's not making these on her own. And I suspect, much of what we're seeing here was sort of pre-announced. I mean, the original sin for Rachel Reeves was campaigning on a pledge, and this was Labour policy, not just Rachel Reeves, a pledge to not touch VAT, national insurance contributions, or income tax. That's why she's boxed herself in so badly here. That was Labour policy on the campaign trail, and that hasn't changed. So this is party policy. She's just the mouthpiece for it.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, she is. Let's have a look at what Mel Stride had to say, because he's coming on the next hour. He said she was reckless.
She chose to be reckless with a sliver of headroom against her fiddled targets. She borrowed and spent and taxed like it was the 1970s. Little wonder, Mr. Speaker, that the Chancellor has tanked the economy. Little wonder we have an emergency budget, all because of her choices.
I mean, he's not wrong, really, is he? Because they said, first of all, there wouldn't be a budget at this time.
He's a little overly dramatic. I mean, the economy is stagnant. It hasn't tanked. Things aren't looking great, but we're not in any kind of a recession or a depression. We're not seeing unemployment soaring up.
If you hang around long enough, Laurie, will be. Probably by next month, I would imagine.
We'll have to see. I think the problem here is, Mike, is that the economy's stagnating. We're not seeing a whole lot of growth. We're not seeing contraction either. And I don't see a whole lot that's going to change that picture. Some of the more sensible things that Rachel Reeves done, looking at the planning system, looking at building infrastructure, these are things that take a very long time to come to fruition. That extra money that she threw at the NHS in her budget in October, again, this is going to take a long time before anybody sees any improvement. And what that means, I think that I don't think we're going to see any tax rises. I think that's sort of the headline that we're seeing today. When the budget comes in the autumn, she's going to have to raise taxes. I'm not so sure. And I think what's most interesting, Mike, is not what she said, what she didn't say. At some point and some point soon, we're going to have to look at the other side of the equation, not raising revenue, but cutting spending. And she sort of edged there yesterday, talking about culling Social Security a little bit, but she hasn't touched the shibboleth, which is pension spending. No one is talking about the triple lock. The triple lock essentially is what gives pensioners an uplift in their pensions that's well at the moment, well above the level of inflation. At some point and some point soon, Labour's going to have to look at this. It's just too expensive.
Well, they're going to have to do better on benefits as well, and they're going to have to do better on cutting back the civil service, because the civil service cutback is really meaningless, because it's 15% over 5 years. It's really not more than anything other than just people volunteering for redundancy. That's all it is. It's not really a slashing and burning of Whitehall, is it? It's
also something we see across the world. It's a very easy thing for finance ministers to grab for. We're going to be more efficient. We're going to get rid of some bodies. We hear it all the time. We hear it in many different countries. We don't tend to see it ever come to fruition. Look, Elon Musk in the U.S. is trying to do the same thing. He's finding it's not that easy to do. He's also finding that some of these people he wants to cut actually do stuff.
Yeah,
he is. To make
but
sure
they are genuinely firing people, which she's not doing. I mean, she's basically going to go to all the departments of state and say, does anybody fancy volunteering for redundancy? Here's a very generous package. Off you go. It's not really going to make much difference. But now she's also saying
it's an easy thing to talk about.
She's saying today, because they're all dead scared of Donald Trump, aren't they? They're terrified of saying anything bad about him. She said today that she does not want to escalate Donald Trump's trade wars after the US president slapped a new 25% tariff on all imported cars. So they're just going to suck that one up, apparently.
Let's see whether that tariff comes to fruition. Donald Trump has had a bit of a history of announcing tariffs and then pulling them back. I mean, it's almost sport for him. And also, with other things going on in Washington, it could be that announcement last night, this 25% on all imported cars and car parts, could be a little bit of a distraction technique. Certainly, it will hurt U.S. car makers a lot more than it'll hurt anyone else. But, you can see Rachel Reeves and Jonathan Reynolds as well have been saying we're talking about a trade deal, something, watch this space.
Yeah. I don't pay any attention to Jonathan Reynolds ever since he lied about being a solicitor, by the way.
He looks like a lightweight. He really does when you see him in a room with grown-ups. But, ask Canada and Mexico what it's like to be in a trade deal with the U.S. Signing a trade deal with the U.S. doesn't mean that Donald Trump is actually going to abide by that deal. There's a very good trade deal between Canada, Mexico, and the U.S., and Donald Trump is driving a truck through that. Yeah. So you can talk all you want about getting a trade deal, and it's really talked about as the holy grail here. If there were some kind of a deal, you got to look at what the UK might have to give up, and it may be things that voters don't want, different kind of agricultural standards. Get ready for those stories about chlorinated chicken.
Oh, we're not going to go back there again, are we? After all these years, blimey!
I think we are going to go there again.
Well, they didn't. Well, it was fake news last time around. It's fake news this time around. It didn't happen. It will never happen.
Look. It's not fake, Mike, that there are different agricultural standards in the U.S. and the UK.
Yes, I know that.
The US is going to demand
it's a nonsense scare. No, but sorry, Laurie, it's a nonsense scare story because people use chlorine to clean all sorts of things. You can buy chlorinated lettuce in this country. But anyway, I'm going to let you go because we've got lots to get on with.